When you're brand new, very tough. Having taught a lot of people to speed skate, it's not the easiest. That the technique of trusting your blades and trusting your center of gravity, not the easiest skill to learn. As you do it, if you've done it your whole life like I have, very easy. But if you ask me to go top speed, it would get more and more difficult at that point. But it's all about finding that like center of gravity and trusting your blades, trusting your equipment, and trusting yourself.
Well, it works. It's like riding a bike, quite honestly. You do it enough, you're going to be just fine at it
100%.
most of the time.
100%. You practice makes progress.
This is Cherise Wilkins. She's with us here on the Big Local Sports Show. We're at Slabs. We're right here on Washington and Marquette. We encourage you to stop on in. They'll serve breakfast until noon today, which we're done at 11, so that's perfect timing for all of us here. You mentioned Austria, and that's fairly recent. Just talk about what was going on over there, how that all went. I've had the pleasure of traveling with U.S. teams internationally, and it's always a whole different animal as a U.S. athlete when you're international. Just a little bit about this tournament for starters.
Yeah, so I went over there for the International Masters Sprint Games for long track speed skating, so the 400-meter oval discipline. And it is the international, it's a top-level international for the sprint distances, which are the shorter distances. And so I just went over to compete in the Masters.
How did it go?
Yeah.
It actually went really well. I got third overall in my age group, which I'm pretty darn happy with. Up here in Marquette, we don't have a ton of access to long track for training, so I've only made it down to Milwaukee a few times to skate. But so I got third, pretty happy with that. Skated very, very well, considering.
I'm trying to remember. It's the nearest track's what, West Allis, Wisconsin?
Yep, West Allis, about 5 hours away.
Well, again, it's time to name drop here. I was telling Cherise ahead of time, being from Madison, Wisconsin, as I am, I knew Eric and Beth Hayden growing up. And it was funny because in the 1980 Olympics, when Eric won all 5 of his gold medals, we had no idea what was going on. I mean, we're like, speed skating. What's this all about? And the other thing is, and in today's world, no one can believe this, but it's true. I'm old enough to remember that we never got the television of the Olympics until 7 o'clock Central, and it would go until 10 o'clock. So they'd shove an entire day in 3 hours.
Yeah.
No social media, none of that stuff. So we would sit quite literally in class when he was racing and get reports from one of the radio stations in town.
Yeah, whole different world now with live streaming every event. You can catch them all on Peacock at any time. I woke my butt up at 6 a.m. so I could watch short track this morning. So we get it. Access to that is so much better than it used to be.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think when he won all that back in 1980, wasn't that the last Olympics where the speed skating was outdoors?
I believe so. Do not quote me on that, but I believe so in Lake Placid there.
And Lake Placid's a lot like up here. Oh, it can get cold.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just where I was, and it was cold.
What muscles are most important for speed skating?
Oh, man. Quads and glutes. That's our bread and butter in the speed skating world. So, I mean, if you look at Eric Hayden, that guy had some quads and glutes.
Yeah, he would sit down and you'd lose everything around him. But he was also, 6'3"?
He's a bigger guy, dude. Yeah.
Is height and things like that a benefit, a detriment? Does it really matter? Is it up to the individual?
It's up to the individual, but stereotypically, taller athletes have done traditionally better in long track, and somewhat shorter athletes have traditionally done better in short track. Not to say that that's hard and fast rule, but if you're talking stereotypes, you do want to be a little more compact in short track. So I
would think in the long track that the stride, if you got longer legs, that might help just a touch.
100%. 100%. That's why the Dutch are doing so well in the long track world.
Yeah, so going actually to the competition, am I correct in saying that only 2 skaters skate at the same time, and isn't there some sort of like lane change that has to happen so they skate the same distance?
So in long track, yep, you it's all kind of time trial element. And so you're racing the clock, and so they do 2 at a time so that you have your designated space. And then you do outer and inner lane, and then you will switch those lanes on the backstretch. That's the one time you can either gain a little bit of a draft if you're in the right position, or potentially have a conflict with another skater, like we saw at the Olympic trials for long track this past year. But yep, you get your own space, you're racing the clock in long track.
Cherise Wilkins with us here. We're talking speed skating with her background, and kind of also about the Olympics too, because like I said, going into this whole thing, it is a shame in a way. You don't see a lot of speed skating televised, or it's until you get to the Olympics, and then all of a sudden it's like everybody's like, where's this been?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both short track, long track, all aspects of speed skating are thrilling, but we just were not as popular as other sports, especially in America. So they're gaining some traction. I feel like people are finding it, seeking it out more, but it's not something you see televised on TV a ton. So it's every 4 years. I would love it for it to be every year. I mean, they're racing all year.
Well, that's just,
year.
they are. I
They
mean,
are.
There's world championships and everything. They're going
Every
all the
year.
time.
Yep.
Well, there you go, Mason. Write the Congress. Let's go.
Right.
Let's get you one more shot here, Mason, before we go to break, all right?
Yeah, so when you're like actually competing, I saw when they go around the turns, their hands have to like guide on the ground because you're going so fast. How tough is that to kind of like have your hand on the ground because you kind of have to because you're going so fast?
So that's in short track. Yeah, you do tend to put your hand down. And as a coach, you'll find me telling my athletes to not put their hand down because it can potentially slow you down at the top level, which is what most people are watching, right, on Peacock in the Olympics. That hand going down is almost easier because it is an element of just like gaining a little bit of balance there for having so much pressure so wide in the corner. So for those athletes, it's easier. It's very easy to put your hand down. They want it down. It's all in a comfortable position. As a younger athlete, as I coach people, I tell them not to put their hand down. They're almost never going fast enough that they need to, and so don't throw that on. There's more chance of getting your fingers cut off if you throw that on the ice.
Well, and it's also not going to get you any grip. It's ice.
No, 100%. It's not doing anything for you except for counterbalance.
Cherise Wilkins with us here. We're at the Big Local Sports Show. We're in Slabs here on this Tuesday. Mark Evans in for Tyler Young. Mason Bancroft with us here. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back with Cherise and continue this. God only knows where we're going to go with this, but I told you this would be pretty easy. And
so far, so good.
About? What are we going to talk about? Who cares? That's the bottom line. But we do owe you a break here. We'll be back in just a couple of moments. It is the Big Local Sports Show here at Fox Sports Marquette 105.1 and 99.9.
For 90 years, we've been there for life's biggest moments, the joyful ones, the unexpected ones. Since 1936, families and businesses have trusted the Elder Agency to protect what matters most through changing times, growing families, and new generations. Our promise has never changed. Honest advice, real people, and coverage you can count on. As we celebrate 90 years of protecting our community, we want to say thank you for your trust, your loyalty, and the stories we share. The Elder Agency, protecting what matters most for 90 years strong and generations to come. The Elder Agency, 906-228-9292.
Quality Car Care Center. We get you going and keep you rolling for complete auto care. We're the ones to see. We do it all, large or small. Certified techs, the best they can be. You always drive out a winner. Quality Car Care Center.
First Bank is proud to sponsor community high school sports. On the court, it's teamwork that makes the difference. In banking, the commercial team at First Bank is here for you with experienced lenders and deposit product specialists. Our business e-banking fits all organizations and makes everyday banking efficient. Stop in at our Marquette or Ishpeming locations or give us a call. Let one of our team work with you.
First Bank, member FDIC and voted Best Bank.
First Bank, where it's all about people.
Hey, let's talk about the windows in your home. You look through them all the time. But when's the last time you looked at your windows? The windows in most homes aren't doing the job they should be. Window Outfitters of the Upper Peninsula is the region's complete source for windows and doors. And since every home is unique, the solutions Window Outfitters provide are also unique to your home's needs. Proud to support our local area students. Visit window-outfitters.com and get your appointment booked today. window-outfitters.com. Well, we're back here inside Slabs in Marquette.
Oh,
it is
good.
the
Thank you.
Big Local Sports Show here, and all these helpful people around. Look at this.
That's great.
I always walk up to Cherise and go, do you need this? Do you need this? How's your level? How's your water? How is your water, by the way?
Oh, it's empty, but that's okay. I'm good. Now it's just a prop.
That'll work. That's all this is, too, but this one's probably coming home with me. Again, with Mason Bancroft, Mark Evans in for Tyler here today, and Cherise Wilkins joining us here. If you're just tuning in, we are at the Big Local Sports Show, all thanks in part Base Hospitality, Deployed Capital, our friends at Slabs, and, of course, Embers Credit Union helping out here at Media Brew Communications. We're talking speed skating right now. We're going to get off into other topics as we go here, but the Olympics going on right now, and the sport of speed skating has evolved. And what I mean by that is, back in the day when I was growing up, it was the Americans, the Soviets, and the Canadians. Now it's the Americans still strong. A lot of the Asian countries are very strong. The Dutch are very strong. Places like Belarus will have decent speed. It's a sport that's really grown, hasn't it?
It's grown significantly, yeah. And it's international. If you go to the Netherlands, you talk about the Dutch. Long track or speed skating is their national sport. Every kid growing up is skating, whether outside on their canals or in like a speed skating capacity. But it's huge now. It's everywhere, and every country has a different level of commitment to the sport. But it's quite the international sport.
For those who maybe haven't tuned in the Olympics yet for speed skating, how's the U.S. doing?
They're doing pretty well. We missed the first medal opportunity today in short track, the relay. And so far we don't have any medals quite yet. But Jordan Stoltz in long track is kind of our guy to watch right now, who has, I believe, the potential to make 4 medals and very likely will. And then our short trackers we have couple really strong women, couple really strong men. So we have some serious opportunities for some medals coming up.
You talk about the Dutch and the canals. I mean, when you think about that, that's probably how half of these kids got to school.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, I just watched an interview with that Dutch woman that won yesterday, and that's how she started, skating with her dad on the canals.
How big of a surprise was it for Francesca Lollobrigida to win that? And how cool was that to watch the Italian on home ice?
That was inspirational. I believe it was her birthday as well. So that's beautiful. And I watched it live on Peacock, and I was floored. I mean, she's mid-30s, has a small child at home, and on her home ice winning the first medal for speed skating. It was absolutely amazing to see that.
And I did look it up, and she is the great niece of the great actress Gina Lollobrigida.
Ah, is that right?
Yes. And most people are going, who?
Yeah.
Look it up. But again, how lost do you get into the Olympics when this is going on?
Oh man, it consumes me. As a winter athlete, as someone that grew up wanting to go to the Olympics, this is the highlight of my every 4-year cycle, right? So I get totally lost in it.
Well, you talk about loving the Olympics. You got to compete at the Olympic trials. What did that mean to you to get to compete there?
That was everything for me. Grew up wanting to be an Olympian. Did miss it just by skin of my teeth, but to compete at Olympic trials it's what you're striving for. At that time, what my whole life had built up towards. I of course was competing on the World Cup circuit leading into like those Olympics, so that is a slightly bigger stage as well, and that being able to put on your skin suit, the represent Team USA is the pinnacle,
When you get to something like the Olympic trials, is that do the eyes go wide open, or do you pretty much know everybody when you're going into that?
You know everyone that you're going. It's very small world. You've been racing them. You literally probably just raced them a few months earlier going into World Cup, because there is the World Cup circuit that leads into the Olympics year. That's what qualifies the spots. So now they call it the World Tour. Please forgive me, but at the time it was the World Cup, and so you know who you're racing against. You race against the same girls the whole time.
When you stepped out on the ice for the first time at the Olympic trials, were you nervous, or did you kind of just go out there and do what you've been doing for so long? At that time I suffered from some serious nerves. Yeah, for sure. I would love to tell you I was cool and calm and ready to go, but no, I was a bundle of nerves. That's who I was.
Do you race that out then? I mean, how do you get that out of your system? You just race it out?
Yep. As soon as that gun goes off, you're locked in. You're locked in. It's the moments that lead you up to that start line that, for me, that were the biggest nerves. Once I'm on that start line, gun goes off, I'm ready.
Mason asked about you and one other skater on the track, because there are 2 of you in long track at a time. How much attention are you paying to the other athletes? Or are you just in your own head trying to figure out where you are? Do you look at the clock? I mean, what is it that you are fighting against?
So in long track, I was not one looking at the clock. I was a sprinter, so I only did the 500 and the 1,000, two shortest races. And so for me, it was just total lock-in. Where am I? What's going on? You do want to kind of have your eyes a little bit out of the corner of your eyes. Where is that other competitor? Because you can use them to your advantage to gain a little bit of motivation, track them down, or if they are right behind you, right? And then you do have to know where they are when you do the crossover on the backstretch. You have to be aware of where they are. But for me, mostly as a sprinter, locked in, it's just me and the lane.
Do you prefer the shorter races or the longer races?
I'm a sprinter.
You're a sprinter.
I'm a sprinter, which is ironic because in running I'm a distance runner, but in speed skating I've always been a sprinter. The 500 is my favorite race. Still is my favorite race.
We're going to get to your running later because we're still talking speed skating. This is a lot of fun. Cherise Wilkins with us here. We're at the big local sports show with Base Hospitality, Deployed Capital. We're inside Slabs Grill here in Marquette, and appreciate all the great work that they do here, and appreciate Cherise being available for us here today. It is interesting because when you stop and you take a look at the distance that the distance skaters do, and I know you're not one of them, but my stepson is a cross-country runner, which is a 5K, which is 5,000 meters. And I was watching the 5,000 meter the other day, and it took me like 30 minutes for me to kind of go, oh, wait a minute. That's a 5K. Mm-hmm. That's, what, 3.1 miles?
Yep, 3.14 miles.
That's insanity. Is that why you don't want to be a long distance?
Man, I'm just not made for that. It's a long time. You watch those men; they're out there for 6+ minutes.
Is it different training for a distance skater as compared to a sprinter?
100%. Yeah. So? Well, you spend a lot more time in basic position, and in sprinting, all I do to train, especially as an adult now, is all power. Right? I got to get up to speed. I got to hold that speed for essentially a minute and a quarter. Minute and third for the 1,000, but just all power all the time. And the distance is a little bit more about efficiency and conserving your energy so that you can put out the best output for the longest time.
So during your short races, you're not pacing yourself at all. You're just 100% the whole time.
I am, yeah.
Please take this as the compliment that I mean it. You don't strike me as a person that paces yourself very often for much anything. That's meant in only the best way possible.
I do preach it in the running world. I do preach pacing and finding that speed that you can do. But in the speed skating, in the sprint world, no, let's just go.
Cherise is just back from the 2026 Master Sprint Games in Innsbruck, Austria, which is... It's interesting because we've got another local athlete that has spent a lot of time in Innsbruck and in Norway, and she's a ski jumper.
Oh, yeah.
Because, yep, because we forget, there were Olympics in Innsbruck. Now, granted, it was 50 years ago.
Yeah. But
all of those facilities, I'm guessing, are still in great use for either the Austrians or to train or what have you. The Olympic facilities just don't go away.
These days they do put in a clause that some of them that can't be used will be repurposed. It's actually part of the Olympic bidding procedure these days for some of them. So if you are watching speed skating in the Olympics right now, that is a temporary facility. That will not be a speed skating rink after the Olympics is done. Yep. Yeah, so that is very unique, but not entirely. I think the Torino ones from 20 years ago, that's not a speed skating rink anymore. Obviously, long track ovals we got a lot of them in the world, not as many as hockey rinks, but they just don't need too many for such a small sport. But some of them are temporary. In Innsbruck, that ski jump is gorgeous. In still use, that is still one of the top facilities to jump at.
All right, well then, you were just here, so I got to ask about Lake Placid then, because I remember that setup and how things were. How much of the Lake Placid 1980 stuff is still way off topic? I grant you. How much of that is still there?
A lot of it is still there. Yeah. That is one of the lucky ovals that the New York State put some extra money in just somewhat recently, last few years ago, to redo the condensers and the compressors that go into it to make it so that they can host races there. But a lot of it is still there.
When you travel internationally, how early are you getting there to prepare for maybe a different time zone or just being in a different place rather than home?
Personally, I like to arrive like 4 days ahead of time. For me, transitioning to European time is fairly easy just because of how the flights are. You do arrive in the morning, so kind of push through. 4 days is my ideal. Of course, it's the middle of winter, so travel issues do happen, and that's exactly what happened to me. I tried to get there on Wednesday, so a little short on 3 days ahead, but ended up getting there on a Thursday.
Travel issues in the winter. We wouldn't know anything about those in and around here. But well, the other thing too is, I worked with USA Hockey for a number of years, and the travel in the winter doesn't matter where you're going in Europe, or it's an issue.
Yeah, doesn't even matter if the weather's bad where you are. Where's that plane coming from, right?
Exactly.
It may or may not get there.
Yeah, they don't get the snow in Amsterdam that they do here, but some weird things can certainly happen. But again, this has been a lot of fun. We got a long way to go with Cherise Wilkins. She joins us here. We're going to talk a little bit more about the speed skating side of things, and then we're going to transfer because I've gotten into the running world, which is a great thing to do. It's a fun thing to do, but it makes no sense to the two of us because you're a sprinter when it comes to speed skating, but more distance when you run.
I am. I don't know. I'm an anomaly, I guess.
Well, then you fit right in. Work out really well. Can you hang out for a little bit longer?
Heck yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break here. We are at Slabs. We are in Marquette on West Washington. If you'd like to catch us for breakfast, lunch, brunch, dinner, we are set here at Slabs, and we will continue with Big Local Sports Show in just a second here. Fox Sports Marquette 105.1 and 99.9.
From breaking ground to groundbreaking modern mining, the only primary nickel mine in the nation is celebrating 10 years of operations. The Eagle ore body was first discovered in 2002, and 12 years later, production began on September 2014. Since then, they have been working 24/7, 365 days a year to supply critical minerals to industries around the world. And they uphold their values of safety, respect, integrity, and excellence while they do it. You can learn more by going to eaglemine.com.
Active Physical Therapy knows playing sports can be rough on your body. Our expert therapists are here to keep you in the game with personalized care, tailored to your goals, your body, and your pace. We help you improve strength, flexibility, and balance, which aids in faster healing and reduces the risk of further injuries and long-term complications. Get active. Stay active. Choose active. Active Physical Therapy. Ishpeming and Marquette.
With Kingsley Agassi at RE/MAX First Realty, he works with you to understand your goals. Whether buying or selling, from your first home to your 50th, he's with you every step of the way. From search to close and start to sold. Visit KingsleyAgassi.com. That's KingsleyAgassi.com. Or contact him at 906-204-5292. Let's make your next move together.
As the world evolves, so do careers. And the number one question college students ask is, what's out there for me? Northern Michigan University has programs for all of the country's fastest growing career fields, including nursing, mechanical engineering, cybersecurity, climate control technology, and data science. Head north into a bright future at NMU.
Alrighty, back. We continue here. Fox Sports Marquette 105.1 and 99.9. Big Local Sports Show. Mason Bancroft over there to the left. Mark Evans in for Tyler Young today. And Cherise Wilkins good enough to join us here. And I told you this would be a fast hour. That half hour just flew right by.
You're right.
But, well, it's fun for us because we get to learn your story, but we also get to learn about a sport we don't know a lot about, and that is speed skating. I want to shift from the long track to the short track. Have you done any short track or not so much?
Yeah, I mean, when I was an athlete, that was probably my better discipline. That is the discipline that I made it to World Cups and got to travel the world for, was short track. And so that is one of my preferred distance or disciplines.
When you were going internationally, did you have a favorite country that you landed in?
Oh man, that's a great question. I have a small piece of my heart for Italy. I love the food. I love the culture. So Italy was probably one of my favorites. The Netherlands a quick second because they are such a speed skating centered country. So it's great to be surrounded by more of your sport, right? When you come from America, there's not a ton of speed skaters around. You land in the Netherlands, and everyone and their brother's a speed skater.
But again, the short track has really become popular the last 25, 30 years. Just from your standpoint, why is that? Where did this popularity come from?
You know, it's a higher pace in terms of like actual racing and strategy. It is a little bit more exciting to watch than long track, which again is a time trial. So it's definitely a more exciting sport to watch. So because of that, it is gained a little popularity, and we've had some amazing athletes come out of the U.S. that have been competing in short track. So that makes it more exciting when you have a hometown hero to root for.
And you've always got that opportunity for a NASCAR moment too, which some people morbidly, I think that might be why they watch it.
It's true. There's some serious accidents that can happen in short track, but.
Is there one country right now that's really strong in the long that's not in the short track? Strong in long track that's not? Because it doesn't strike me that teams in the Netherlands are that involved in the short track, but I may be wrong.
You are. On that one,
good.
right now, the Netherlands is amazing in both. If you asked 20 years ago, there are less crossover into short track. Right now, if you're looking at some of those other Nordic countries, if you're going to look at like Norway, there's no presence in Norway with short track. It is primarily a long track.
See, I go back to the beginning of this program talking about questions and not knowing because, well, we see this every 4 years, quite honestly. But
very true.
Is it true that I look at speed skating right now, and especially the Asian countries, you know, the Japanese seem to be so strong in short track.
Yeah.
Good in the long track, but it's like these countries have almost honed in on that particular element of the sport. Is that right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. When you're right, you're right. I mean, as you said, they're involved in short track. They do have a couple like breakout heroes in long track, but they're a little more centered in the short track, especially like a country like Korea that has a very strong short track presence. They're involved in long track. They're there, and they're going to be a handful that are really, really good on the international stage, but less likely than short track.
For any of our listeners out there that think they want to try this, what's something they'll find difficult once they start getting into it?
Oh, man.
Besides everything.
You know, if someone's trying to get involved in speed skating, if they come from a sport like hockey or figure where there is at least the balance on a very thin blade, the biggest challenge they'll find is just getting that lower technique of bending your knees and getting down so that you can push really long and holding the corner tight, because it is a very specific radius that you have to go around, and in hockey figure you have the ability to do any radius you want, so sticking to one can be kind of difficult for some. If you don't have hockey or figure skating, I'd say finding your balance on those very, very thin blades is difficult.
Talk about the equipment and the skates in particular, because I know, like everything else on the planet, I mean, this is a much better board than I ever worked on 20 years ago. This is a much better computer than was here. Technology always goes through the cycles. What's technology now that wasn't there, say, when you got started?
You know, I got started a long time ago, right? And so when I started in speed skating, clap skates in long track did not exist. And so
explain that.
So in long track, this is long track specific, the blade is not attached in the heel, and it has a spring, so that when you are pushing, if you push at the very end of your stride with your toe, your blade will stay in contact with the ice and your heel will come detached from your boot. And so you can get a little bit more of a push, a little bit longer of a push. And then as you recover and you bring your foot back around, that back of the blade comes back, snaps back. And so that technology technically did not exist when I first started in the sport.
How do you get used to something like that? Because I would think that click, click, click on the back of your heel with every stride would be a little bit, I don't know, distracting?
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't say it's distracting, but it's definitely something that you do have to learn the technique for, because it's not attached, right? And so you can't just be toeing off. You can't go up and over the top, over your toes. You could fall. So it takes a little bit. I always teach my the younger athletes to get used to fixed blades first, so you know where your center of gravity is, know where your weight is, so that when you transition to clap skates, it's easier.
Clap. I'm
And just like the noise, as you said, that's 100% why they call it that.
You said it at first. I'm like, okay, now I'll go. My hearing's going, but I heard clop skates.
Nah.
No, we're not talking horse racing, right? No, we're talking about speed skating.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the start a little bit, because from the video I watched, I think it was the front foot, they stick the front of their skate in, and their back leg is kind of... How important is the start of a race?
For sprinters like myself, it's incredibly important. Getting up to speed from 0 to as fast as you're going to go is incredibly important. As like an adult athlete, it's even more important to train that, because it's a lot of stress on your lower back, your hamstrings, and so it is a big part, especially of a sprint race. If you talk those longer distance, like the 5K, 3K, a little bit less important. They just got to get into their position, but as a sprinter, incredibly important.
Adam was going to ask you something, and I didn't hear his question because I was monkeying around with this thing. Remember what Adam was going to ask her? He said to ask her.
Yeah, it was... What was it? Something about... Oh, there he is, right there.
What did you want to know?
I was wondering, because as like a running coach, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you see any, like, whether they're philosophical lessons or...
Yeah, put the headset on. Just don't spill my coffee. All right, Adam, what do you got?
So, if as a running coach, I wonder, are there any philosophical or even physical lessons that are kind of synergetic between speed skating and maybe running?
That's a great question. From a philosophical standpoint, I would say the biggest thing that I've learned from speed skating I transfer to running is that you can do hard things. You can do things that aren't naturally easy by just focusing on technique and having someone in your life that can like tell you kind of how to break things down. So in speed skating, it's an incredibly unnatural sport. Look at us. That's not a natural position that we're in. And so I take that and I take my years of experience doing such an unnatural sport, and then I coach like mostly adults in the running world that don't love running, and I tell them, you can do hard things. We can do it. We just have to break it down and find what can you do and grow from there and do something that's maybe wasn't in your wheelhouse before.
I love that. That makes me think of
Okay. You never know where the questions are going to come from. That's half the fun for us. I mean, we're all friends around here, and we're just having a casual conversation with Cherise Wilkins here. We're talking speed skating now. It's a perfect time to do it with the Olympics happening in Italy right now. Just as we get to our next break here real quick, because we're going to shift gears. We got to, because we haven't talked running yet, and we've only got 20 minutes left in the program here. But I'm noticing something, and this is just the casual layman's viewer. The sprinters are more using the arms, and the distance people seem to have more. Is that because of drag with the arms behind the back?
Yeah. In sprint, you are using your upper body to help generate a little bit more speed, and the distance skaters are more about efficiency, right? And so they don't need to generate as much power. They just need to get their power and then maintain it the entire time. So putting their arms on their back limits the drag, the air drag, and just helps them stay in that efficient rhythm.
You've mentioned the age groups a few times. Could you break that down for us?
The age groups?
Yeah,
so the major difference, I mean, you talk Olympics, and that is high performance is what that is. And it really doesn't matter what age you are. There's no age groups in a high performance world, whether that's World Cup, World Championships, Olympics.
You're either there or you're not.
You're either in that world or you're not. It doesn't matter if you're 18 coming out of high school or 35 and winning the women's 3K, right? In Masters, which is what I still get to compete in, it is broken down into 5-year age groups, mostly because a lot of things change in adult. This is a little bit more of a recreational aspect. There are still plenty of athletes that train really hard for this, but they do break it down into a 5-year age group in the Masters world, which will take someone like me up until I pass away. There's athletes that are still competing in that world that are 95, 96. So you can do it your whole life, but they break it down into a 5-year age group.
I was just going to say, are you like, as you start getting up higher, is there still good turnouts for these groups?
Huge amount. Yeah. You'd be surprised of how much, especially other countries, are just involved in sport. And it's one of the things I do preach, that you can be involved in sport your entire life. You don't have to do it in high school, college, and then call it quits. You can do sport your whole life. You just got to find what avenue brings you joy and what avenue you want to. There's a huge turnout, especially on the international level. A lot of these countries that do sport for life, they're coming out. I tell people the most competitive, like, women's age group, 65 plus, 65 to 70. That age group, they're like retired, their kids are grown, they now have time to quote train for the sport. That's probably the largest group that I see in speed skating.
Knowing enough 65 to 70-year-old people, I buy that.
Yeah. I
really
think it's absolutely awesome to see people that are competing for life.
Well, and the other thing too, and not to get way off topic here, but a lot of women in that age group, society was a lot different when they were growing up and when they were younger. And now they kind of have that opportunity to spread their wings a little bit and be competitive, where a lot of the women in that age group were told as kids, girls aren't competitive.
Yeah, girls aren't competitive. Your job is to get married and have a family and raise that family, and then, that's it. So a lot of people are finding their feet in sport at that age.
I think Mason and I can both vouch for the fact that, yes, girls now and women are competitive. Wouldn't have it any other way. We've only got about 15 minutes left. Our last break. We're going to take that here in just a second. But we got to switch gears because we were going to talk about your running, but this has been so fun to talk about the speed skating.
It's we're here for it.
I told you this would be quick. We've only got 15 left. It is the Big Local Sports Show. Cherise Wilkins joins us here, and we're back in a moment here. Slabs down on Washington on Fox Sports Marquette 105.1 and 99.9.
These days, we're all looking for ways to spend a little less. Or maybe you're looking for some part-time work to help make ends meet. Your locally owned McDonald's restaurant has opportunities for evenings, weekends, afternoons, early mornings, whatever fits into your schedule. McDonald's will make it work for you. Applications are available in Ishpeming, Harvey, and Marquette, and your locally owned McDonald's restaurant is excited to talk to you about joining their family. Your locally owned McDonald's restaurant. Apply today at careers.mcdonalds.com. The Ishpeming Hematites play basketball and volleyball on a floor built by Robin Sports Services. So does much of the NBA, many WNBA teams, and colleges and universities across America. For over 75 years, Robins has represented Ishpeming and Marquette County in countless gyms and arenas with the quality and expertise provided by the amazing UP people who manufacture this excellence right here. Robins is pleased to be a Hematite this year and support the kids, the community, and this broadcast that bring them all to you. Robin Sports Services in Ishpeming. John's Auto, West Washington and Marquette, the spot for pre-owned vehicle sales, period. They've owned that category since the category was created years ago, and no one else has even come close. John's has quality pre-owned vehicles, but they have the people to help you find the right one for you and provide a top buying experience. When you're the little guy, you have to do it right, and John's does just that. Visit John's Auto today and be prepared to find the vehicle you want and be ready to make a friend. That's who they are. John's Auto, West Washington, Marquette.
I'm going to tell Tyler Young to stand down from this point forward. This is fun. This really is. Tyler is still out. We're wishing you the best there, my friend, to get you back in here at Slabs and the Big Local Sports Show as quickly as possible here. Mason Bancroft here, and today we're talking to Cherise Wilkins. We've been talking about the speed skating part of your life, but you've also got some other things going on in your life, and one of those is the running side of things. I'm guessing that for the speed skating, that the running is a necessary part of the training? Is that how this all came to be?
I mean, 100%. You gain a lot of cardiovascular fitness from running. I grew up running in middle school, high school. You want to run just to gain fitness for the speed skating element, but just for team sports as well.
Yeah, you look at multi-sport athletes now and how much that helps just from playing multiple sports growing up.
Yeah, 100%. You have to do other things to make you a more well-rounded athlete, and running is one of the easiest way to get that cardio. Right? There's very little equipment involved.
Let's talk about your running. What are some of the things that you're doing with your running right now?
I mean, so for myself, personally, I still run probably a handful of marathons here and there. But the biggest thing is helping create new runners, I guess. I came from a running store back east in Syracuse, where I helped with a learn to run program, helped with a distance program, half marathon and full. And so trying to bring some of that here to help support Queen City and the Marquette running community. So I've started last year, run basically a couch to 5K program to encourage people to run that may not have wanted to, or kind of used to run and took some time away from the sport.
You mentioned our friends at Queen City. Paige was actually on the program a couple of months ago, was it, Mace?
It's
been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Been a hot minute here, but they're Queen City is really great with the running community, but they're also really good with the walking community.
Yeah.
People forget about that sometimes because not everybody, your present company included here, is really going to be able to run after 2 hip surgeries, but it's a great way to keep active, so that's a great place to stop right there. So a marathon running. This is 26 plus.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't do one every weekend.
Yeah.
But was that like a goal that you set, or running marathons just kind of like, oh, I can do that?
When I was young, when I was in high school, I wanted to run a marathon. That is the longest recreational distance that you do. And so I had set that goal of doing my first one. Did it just shortly after high school, about a year or so after, and just wanted to do it. I knew I was never going to be, winning anything, heading off to Boston or anything, but wanted to. I think it's the longest distance for a recreational athlete.
What would you say, because like running a marathon, running a half marathon, for a lot of people is like that bucket list thing.
Yep.
And maybe not all of them are runners going in. What would you tell that person who wants to go from couch to 5K, couch to 10K, to half, and eventually, what would you tell that person? What are just getting started would be the best way? What's the first thing to do?
First thing to do is know your body, and know that coming from couch to marathon is not something you're going to do overnight. To take your time, be present in whatever your physical ability is at the moment. Start with that 5K, go into that 10K, go into that half marathon. I preach that you should do that half marathon a couple times before you commit yourself to a full marathon, just to give yourself the experience. But it is a long road. The old phrase, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, comes from that.
After you finished your first marathon, right after high school, did you know, okay, I want to keep doing this? Or was this this is a one-time thing, I am done with this?
I would say I was in a lot of pain after the first one. I did not have a coach that taught me that. I was training for speed skating at the time, and so that was a kind of a side hustle, I guess. And so I did not do it properly. And I didn't do my second one properly either. So the biggest thing, I wanted to just redemption after the first one. I was like, man, I can do that better. And I need a redemption after the second one too. So
is that why being an educator for something like this is so important to you? Because it's like, and they say it's true, the only way to do it right is to mess it up a couple of times.
100%. To me, I don't want people to go through that. I think if you have access to the information, you have people that can talk you through something, it's so much better. It's going to be so much more of an enjoyable experience. A lot of people do the one and done, and it doesn't have to be that way. If you do it right, you can find joy in it and find joy in those long miles.
Yeah, when we had Paige on the show, we had a good conversation about when you're actually running in these marathons, how people just come together and they run together and create friends.
I think it is a beautiful thing. Everyone out there, if Paige and I were in a marathon together, she would be in a way different group of people than me, but it doesn't really matter. You find yourself surrounded by people that are in a very similar situation as you, pace-wise, ability-wise. So they do come together. You kind of get to know the people you're running around.
Well, there's a difference between running the Marquette Marathon and running the Boston Marathon. My apologies to the folks that do Marquette. It's a great race. It's a great thing that they do. They're wonderful people, but you're not getting the elite world class people
No.
Here you're getting the people that are the weekend warrior type of things that maybe it is their bucket list. And so
100%.
those people need to be taught and coached and educated and all that other stuff so they don't do what Cherise did.
It does help. It does help.
So the elite runners, when it comes to the marathoning and stuff like that here, I mean, that's got to be just such a bizarre world to a lot of people when they watch. Because I was at the Grandma's Marathon in Duluth, the last 4 miles of the stretch. Last 4 miles of a marathon. You would think that the elite guys and the elite women would look like they've been hit by a truck. And they're just at a dead sprint, and they're just cooking along and doing their thing. Is there such thing as that runner's high that these people seem to have when they're running?
I mean, 100%.
Really?
There's a runner's high.
You ever have that over there?
I've never experienced it. No.
I do have to tell you, like, there's a dramatic difference between those elite runners that are doing their marathon in 3 hours or less, and the weekend warriors that are out there for 6+ hours. Those are the ones you should really take a glance at, is the ones that they're out there twice as long, doing the same distance, doing it different. That's a whole different thing on their body. It's almost a different sport to them, but it's pretty impressive to watch.
Some guys, we'll talk about men first, they're born, they're going to be 6'6", 6'8", 330. They're going to be a lineman in football. They're not going to be a marathon runner. Are there people in your mind that are just kind of born to run?
There definitely are.
Okay.
There definitely are in terms of like the ease of it, but again, my take on it is that anyone can be a runner if you want to be. You can break it down, getting the education, getting the training required. That you just have to know what to do and how to do it, but anyone can be a runner.
Part 2 of Mark's question here. Were you blessed with the ability just from birth? Were you a runner?
Is that you?
I would say genetically, yeah, I was a runner. That's why I did a marathon pretty quick in life. And then life took me down a different training avenue, becoming a speed skater, and that changes your body dramatically. I'm gaining muscles for the sport of speed skating. That didn't necessarily help me in the sport of running. And so physically, you wouldn't look at me and be like, that girl is going to be a great marathon runner, because I trained my body to be a speed skater. And so coming back to the sport of like marathon running and running in general, the genetic aspect, not really involved anymore, per se. And so you can still do it. It's just going to look a little bit different than it did when I was genetically apt for it.
Cherise Wilkins joining us here. It is the last couple of minutes of the Big Local Sports Show, believe it or not. I told you it was going to go quick, and it always does, especially because this is so fun for us because, I don't know a whole lot about speed skating. I've never been a runner. I know you don't speed skate.
I do not speed skate, no.
You're, other than basketball, you're probably not doing a whole lot of running. So this is a world that's it's different to a lot of people, and I know that it's kind of fun for you to be able to share that with people too.
100%. This sport has given me so many opportunities, and I am just blessed to be able to share my experience with people, whether from a coaching aspect or from like an education point, but to bring more awareness to speed skating, to have people seek it out watching the Olympics is huge. That's only going to help the sport grow in the U.S. So I love talking about it anytime.
Are you still competing in either speed skating, or are you still running? Or if so, when is the next time that you'll be competing?
I tried to do one speed skating major competition. That was in Innsbruck this year. Next year, the all-around, so a more diversified distance, is happening in Salt Lake City next year. So I hope to head out for that. But still doing the once a year speed skating thing. Running wise, I'll sign up for a marathon a year essentially, but again, as a recreational, not winning anything.
Cherise Wilkins with us here. Last couple of minutes here. You're back home. You landed last night.
Yeah.
And you're home now. What? You're back home. You're just gonna chill for a little bit.
Just gonna chill. Got to go to work still, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't know much about that.
Yeah, we're just gonna chill. The new Couch to 5K program does start up in about a month through Queen City, so going to prepare for that and hope that the bike path is paved for those new runners come March.
Obviously, you're watching a lot of speed skating. What is your next favorite Olympic winter sport to watch?
Oh, man. Honestly, just knowing Kaya, I haven't started to watch the ski jumping a lot more. figure skating. I love watching that. And I am a hockey fan. Give me the ice sports all day.
I like the Marquette side of that one. Yeah, I love watching the ski jumping too. But yeah, and I'm guessing speed skating is kind of the same way. You don't get the same on television as you do watching like ski jumping in person.
Yeah,
that's a whole different world.
Yeah, 100%. It's everything's more exciting in person than watching on TV. But we take what we can get, right?
You mentioned getting up towards, and the elite people in the long track are 33, 34 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Get in your car right now, go that speed, and then realize you're propelling yourself at that speed. And to watch someone do that in person is spectacular.
Yeah, on ice. Think about getting up to that speed on ice in your car. Even that seems a little scary for some people. So it is an amazing sport, and it is self-propelled. It's not the same as going downhill skiing where you're getting up to faster speeds than that, but you have gravity on your side.
How can people get involved with you at Queen City Running?
So again, we have the Couch to 5K. We call it Let's Get Running. If you are interested in running, seek that out. We're on Run Sign Up, or stop into the store and talk to myself or Paige about it. And we do have a half marathon program starting in May as well. If you can run 3 or 4 miles, you can do that. But stop on in.
It does leave us behind.
That leaves us out. I can't thank you enough. This has been really, really fun. We are quite literally just about ready to wrap this thing up.
This has been great. Thank you so much for having me and just giving me the opportunity to talk about the sport that I love. I appreciate it.
Cherise Wilkins with us here. And again, there's always ample opportunity for you to get out and be active and do stuff like that. And if nothing else, there's a little bit of an exclamation point on that for you right there.
But you want your Dan Patrick. Well, good news, he goes everywhere with you. If you missed the show, you can podcast it. If you want to see the show, just go to Peacock and we stream it live every weekday. Watch past episodes too. The Dan Patrick Show, available anywhere you are, any way you want it.